So, everyone, a very warm welcome to today's webinar on animation. I am Bilal Khenji, a student at GS Institute of Design, a design school located in Delhi, the heart of Delhi, with a vision to bridge the gap between design education and design industry's ever evolving requirements. Design Institute of GS Institute of Design is founded by the GS Group, known for its 50 plus years of legacy in premium retail furnishings and 9.9, which has established prestigious institutions like Ashoka University and ISP, which is Indian School of Business in Hyderabad. GS Institute of Design collaborates with Ecole Intuit Lab, which, yeah, a renowned French design college to offer a variety of undergraduate and postgraduate programs. These include game art and design, digital product design, visual communication, animation, and motion design, as well as postgrad programs in interior design, which is interior design and advertising design and digital communication. Today's webinar is all about exploring the fascinating world of animation, its role in storytelling, career opportunities, and the skills needed to succeed. To guide us, we are thrilled to have Krishna Chandran with us. Krishna Chandran is an independent animation filmmaker from Kerala, currently based in Indore. His journey began with a degree in animation film design from NID, Ahmedabad in 2011. He then went on to specialize in animation film direction at La Potrière, France in 2016. During his time in France, Krishna created Chandran's Cafe. It was his graduation film, which was produced in collaboration with Arte. He later directed Troll de Poisson in 2018, a children's short film created during his residency at the famous Follimate studio. This film, made in partnership with Canal Plus and Studio Nadesti, it has been screened worldwide, earning nearly 100 nominations and 13 awards at various film festivals. In addition to his films, Krishna has worked on art films, documentaries, and pre production projects, educational projects. Last year, he contributed as the first assistant director at pre production artist for the Malayalam film Malai Kotai Valiban. Currently, he is directing his new short film, which is Hide and Seek, which was selected for pitching at the renowned Annecy International Animation Festival in France. With his vast experience and immersive work in animation, Krishna is here to share his journey and tips for aspiring animators. Krishna, we're honored to have you with us today. May I please invite you to take the stage and lead us into the world of animation? And for this, we'll start with the question, what is animation?
Hi everyone. Thank you, Bilal, for that wonderful intro. So yeah, I'm assuming everyone is an animation aspirant here, and like all of you, I was also one at one point. So I'm sure the questions that are running through your minds are pretty much the same that I had at that point. The most important of which is like what kind of job or career will I have after this. uh, Unfortunately, there's no like one answer for that because uh, it's a very non-traditional career option, and most of us come here in this direction because of our passion, for it, and we sort of have to find our own journey along the way, and then there are many ways of making a living using with animation. I myself like had to experiment a lot, and then finally I found my direction eventually, which that I am passionate about, and I have found like a way where I can earn my bread and butter, and also like do something else for my passion, and like trying to find that right balance. It's a but I'll try to like make it easier for you guys, like with my understanding of this field, through a little bit through my journey. And yeah, if you what we can do is, we can I can take you guys through that, through my work, and like I said, through my journey, and then you guys can ask all the questions that you have in mind. It'll be easier for me also to like answer them. So yeah, like I like uh, he said, I went to NID, and uh, in terms like since I was talking about the career, I was even more confused when I got out of NID, because I went before getting into NID, I had like a very basic understanding of animation, but like after that, I like that understanding of what animation could be. Like I was left with so many options, and I started exploring all sort of directions. Like I started taking up illustration projects. I started doing illustrations for textbooks and children's stories, and like comics for educational purposes. Then there's this brand called Chumbak, with whom I was working, and I started developing merchandises for them. I made like a bunch of these characters for them. Like they had these series of bobbleheads where I designed one of their bobbleheads called Yo-Yo Money. So these were all like I was having fun exploring what to do. I even had like bunch of friends like came together. We started our own brand, which we named Bechen Nagri, and like we started doing illustrations for products, different kinds of products like notebooks and t-shirts and pillow covers, and we started selling them on a thela in different uh, animation events, or music festivals, different kinds of events, Comic Con. So it was a lot of fun exploring all these different avenues, at the same time finding out what I really wanted to, what really excited me about this field. So I even like during that time I did a lot of small animations for ads, and logo animations, and those kind of things. So uh, none of my batchmates in from NID are actually making films today. Like they have all like we've all like branched out into different spaces in within animation. Some of them are doing uh, like brand identity, and like graphic design, like they moved into that space. Some of them have are exploring AR, VR, AI, those kind of things. Some of them are doing gaming, like gaming industry they've moved to. I decided I want to specialize further in animation film direction. So I went to the school called La Poudrière in France, and I studied for 2 years over there. So while I was there, I studied that within that space there is so much you can do. So we did. So maybe I can like show you some of the works that I have done while I was there. Can I maybe share my screen? Just a second. Okay. I hope this is my Google Chrome. Just give me a second. I need to give some permissions and stuff. Okay. I hope I can share the screen now. Um, is it visible? I'm not sure. Is it? Can you guys see what I'm sharing?
Yeah, we can see. We can see.
Okay. So is this is the video visible? I'm not able to.
Video is visible, yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, so like, we started working on different kinds of animated films. Like, there was a festival, a theater festival that happened in this place called Valence, where we were living, and we had to make an opener, like a festival opener, a tiny short for that. So what was interesting about this is, like, we were given the soundtrack early on, and then we had to explore the visuals, based on the soundtrack. So there were like 10 of us. We were all making different versions of it, and then these were screened before the festival opened. Yeah. It was like, just have fun with the soundtrack, and then like these were played before the festival opened. And just give me a second. So similarly, this was another festival, a short film festival. So we had to make something tailored to the short film festival. So this is a very renowned festival in France. So this was again, like, played before the festival.
Excusez-moi, mais ces courts-métrages, ils sont courts comment?
C'est des courts-métrages, quoi.
Mais ils sont courts comment? Chut. Excusez-moi.
Oh, vous savez, court ou long, c'est pas ça qui fait que c'est bon. Hein.
Oui, d'accord. Mais ils sont vraiment courts? Chut. Excusez-moi, mais...
Yeah, so the beauty of this medium is, you don't really have to, draw, like necessarily have to draw to animate. Like, there are so many ways of animating. Like, this is a method called stop motion, where we have a camera placed on the top, and then you can literally animate anything. This was one of the first animations that I had made, literally with an underwear.
Look at this photograph. Every time I do it makes me laugh. Let's get it now that it was back then. If I was them, I wouldn't let me. Oh God,
So yeah, you can bring anything to life using this medium, right? Like, and you can, yeah, like, so this is like coming back to what I was saying. So yeah, we were like exposed to so many different kinds of, so we made, like, developed series while we were there, and we had the option of, like, going further after our course also, to, like, we were actually talking to the producers and, like, pitching these our ideas. So if you wanted to, like, carry on, you could actually make them afterwards. So this again, like a brand identity exercise was given to us. This was not made by me. This was actually made by one of my batchmates, which was, like, actually selected by the TV channel. And I was, like, fortunate enough to be interviewed by the same TV channel in that program. So like a brand identity exercise that we had.
Krishna Chandran s'est formé en Inde au National Institute of Design avant de poursuivre ses études en France à l'école d'animation de la Poudrière.
So basically, yeah, these kind of like brand identity, all these require animation. Like it's pretty much like used by even in India. So yeah. So since I talked about not the stop motion as a technique, not having to really draw, I can quickly show you a film that I had made in NID. Yeah. So yeah, this was the first time I was basically, like this my first animation film, you can say. So like it was a lot of fun. Designing these characters. There's a puppet that we had to make. So these puppets have even though it looks like entirely made of clay, like it's all it's got like a wire and thermocol inside to make them light, and then you you know put like a thin layer of clay, otherwise it becomes too heavy, so they have to be light enough. And then then we got to make these miniature auto rickshaws and like shops and clothes, and it was a lot of fun exploring different medium. And and like when I say you don't have to draw, like don't get me wrong, like you need to have an interest in drawing. You don't have to be great at drawing. There's a big difference. So I yeah, like I think that interest should always be there. As long as it is there, like it can you have like so many ways to explore this medium. um yeah if you guys have any questions regarding this, like please feel free to ask. um I think before opening to questions, like if we have the time, I can show you like other films that I have made. uh so yeah, I can show you this film. This is a slightly longer film, a 6-minute film. So this was a short film that I had made with a studio called Folimage in France as a part of their residency program. So it's a children's film. I needed to make something that is simple, that has a lot of like message and everything, but like, you know, like market targeted at children, you know. So this is this did really well in the festival circuit, and it managed to travel around the world quite a lot.
Oh, super content. Je l'ai, à moi. Ça va? Ça va. Je sais pas. Et un poisson? T'es sûr? Mais oui, regarde, c'est un poisson lune, comme toi. Mais qu'est-ce qu'il fait là-haut? Bonjour, monsieur, madame. Ça va? Reviens, t'approche pas! Oh, c'est quoi ce truc? C'est bien grande moustache pour un poisson lune. Il bouge plus. Ah, il bouge! J'ai trouillard. Tout va bien, monsieur. Madame, on est là, on va vous aider. Ah, mais qu'est-ce qu'on fait? Je sais pas. Allez! Oui, venez. Trop dur. On n'y arrivera jamais. Qui lui a arraché sa moustache?
Ce n'est pas sa moustache.
Hein?
Oui, et ce fil au bout de mon crochet. Il a été capturé par les gens d'en haut. Mais attendez, je vous ai pas encore raconté comment ça m'est arrivé.
Allez, on va essayer. Tirez!
Et les gens d'en haut, moi seul ai pu leur échapper. Je vous explique, c'était un jour de tempête. Il était pas déjà parti en vacances.
Salut Olivier! Bon Olivier, t'es plus fort que nous, je crois. On a besoin de toi.
Je devrais partir à la mer. Tu sais, les vacances à la mer, j'y vais plus moi. Maintenant, avec les gens d'en haut, je sais plus ce que c'était. Hein.
Bon, poussez-moi un peu.
Poussez-moi.
Attention, madame. Oui, vas-y. Qu'est-ce que vous faites? Respire trop d'air. Madame, expirez un peu. Ça va? Mais vous habitez là-bas, tout au fond? Attends, on peut pas y aller, nous. C'est tout noir là-bas. Bon, bah, au revoir.
Ah, mais d'accord, dis pas merci.
Pourquoi tu peux pas merci là?
Viens l'aider. Bon bah, voilà.
Il est plus là? Ah, il est où? Ah oui. Alors, j'aurais été où? Ah oui, tu sais, c'était un jour de tempête et... Oula, je crois que je vais y aller, hein? J'ai pas pu lui raconter. Il aurait adoré, j'en suis sûr.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Je sais pas. On dirait un poisson.
Yeah, that was yeah, and this film was like screened on the TV. It still plays in the theater over there in France. They have these short film collections that they screen, and every vacation, like summer, winter vacations, and all, like their parents go with the children to show these films in the theaters.
Krishna.
The beauty of, like what I like about animation, like what really excites me about animation over say like live action film, is the liberty to exaggerate things, like you can really have fun with a lot of things, like like a concept like a balloon being mistaken for a fish, like it's something you can only think of in an animation film. And so yeah, like and like another film, the film that I made while I was studying in France.
Krishna, there's a question
Okay,
by
sure.
Purumara. He's asking, what would be your advice for someone starting in animation, especially for navigating the global market as an Indian creator?
So by starting animation as in like a starting an animated film, or a career, like what exactly does he mean? Can we ask
I
him?
feel, Purumara, I think as an animator. He said career.
As a okay. uh so yeah, I mean, if you have to want to have your own voice, I mean, that is something I would advise, like try to find your own voice, uh individual identity as an animator, as a creator. Like, I mean, it's something that takes time. It's not something that happens like overnight. It is something that comes with a lot of practice by doing. So especially during your years where you're studying animation, like try to find out, like, what really excites you, what is the kind of style that you like to do, what is your style, and what kind of again, like it's a very broad sort of a question. You have to sort of find exactly what you want to do before, like uh, sort of trying to cater to, like an international market or whatever. So if you want to say like be an animator, you try to be the best, like acquire that skill that is required to be a really good animator. And then you can be an animator in, like any kind of projects, um, Indian or international, or like a lot of my colleagues are animating for all these big shows that you see on Netflix, and like all these cartoon saloon, like all these studios outside, because they have really polished their skills and become like the quality of animations that they produce is similar to what, or better than in a lot of cases, than the animations that you see outside. So yeah, like just work on your skill sets and be updated with everything, what is new. uh, yeah. So and yeah, try to find your own style, find your voice, what you want to do.
Uh,
Like
I
I
have a
said,
few questions.
yeah, sure.
I have a few questions that I have in mind. So
Hmm.
first one is, what's the main like key difference between animation and motion graphics?
Motion graphics would be a part of animation. So it would go closer to, like the graphic design. So when by graphic design I mean, like that is again, like, I'm not a graphic design expert, but that's a big like a lot of possibilities there as well. But let's say, like a lot of daily like videos you see on the, like on YouTube or like Instagram, like, a lot of these animations that pop up, those all come under motion graphics, like a lot of logo animations. Say like even like the branding, like that video I showed you, where my face comes out of, like a man's face, like all that also sort of a lot of times come under motion graphics. So all these little bit of, like title animation that come with it. And so what you saw there was done using traditional animation method, but you saw a lot of, like, effects and stuff, right? So all that like falls under that motion graphics only, like a lot of typography animation, and like all that comes under that. That's a yeah, it's I would say like closer to graphic design. A lot of times when you're creating a brand and it's packaging, like um, and you have to advertise these things, uh, you have to sort of use motion graphics for that. So even at the end of an ad, so I like say like a live action ad is coming to me. Okay, I have a great example to show you for the different aspects of this. Okay, wait just a second. Give me a second. Uh, yeah. So I had done a Game of Thrones ad for Star. Um, where did it go? Yeah. So there are different mediums. It's like a mixed medium. You can call it, like there is a live action bit. Give me a second. Yeah.
The spider was the master of whisperers. His army of little birds followed all his commands. And that's why everyone kept distance from Varys.
What? Clueless when everyone's talking thrones. Here's one last chance to catch up.
Yeah. So I mean, that animation on the logo you see over here. Just a second. This logo animation. I mean, there is not much motion graphics happening over here. Uh, like the animation that happens with the text and everything sort of falls under the motion graphics. But it's a lot more complex than this. You would see a lot more complicated motion graphics stuff. But like the part that I handled was the animation. They had given me the client had given me the script for this. I had to come up with the visuals for uh, that a man is narrating, right, some episode of the Game of Thrones, and the other guy has no clue what is happening. So it's his imagination of what this guy is saying. So somebody who hasn't seen Game of Thrones is imagining what this guy is talking about Game of Thrones. So that I had to imagine. So I came up with these visuals and the style, developed a style for it. Uh, So yeah, like I could go like completely surreal because it's completely a man's imagination. So yeah, I had like a lot of fun working on this. So this is my area of animation where I uh, approach it in a traditional animation, like sense, like a 2D animation. Yeah, I focus on 2D animation, not 3D animation. So yeah, so I do that, and then it sort of like merges with the live action eventually. Like the live action was taken care of by a different team, and then this is taken care of by the motion graphics team. So and then there would be a compositor who would composite all of it, like like this, uh like where all this is coming together, like this merges into the live action. All this is done by a compositor. So yeah, like three teams coming together to put together one ad.
Guru Mehra said something. He's saying there's a fear of being a balloon among the fishes in the sea when I'm starting my animation journey. So, due to fast changing trends, how to cope that?
There's no like answer to that really, because yeah, like you have to, trends will keep changing, it's always evolving, and you just have to be up to date with it, right? And there is no need to like fear it. Like you just have to know what is happening. Like currently there's a big fear of AI coming and like taking away a lot of jobs, but then uh, a lot of people are using AI, animators themselves are using AI to their advantage. They're using it to sort of like make their process faster. So yeah, like it is about like we still don't know like what is going to happen, but like we just have to be with the flow, and you have to keep adapting. You have to be open minded when you're in this field, and I think that really helps with any field that you're choosing. You have to sort of like be open minded, be adapt as and when it goes. So I'm somebody who really fears being comfortable. So the moment I start getting comfortable with like and like get into a set routine, I put myself in a very uncomfortable position. So uh, going to France and studying this new thing was like entirely like changed my, like as I was getting like really comfortable with like something, I decided like to completely like throw myself off by learning a new language. So these kind of things also really help be like up to date or whatever. So yeah, like and I got to know like different world of animation. Yeah.
Earlier, you said that drawing is not important. Like, you just need to have an interest about that. So, like, people think that it is one of the core skills, like, you need to know how to draw. But as you said, that you just need to have an interest. So, what are some core skills required for animation?
I would not say it is not needed. Um if you have a passion for animation, but if you feel that you don't have the drawing skills required for it, definitely like try and work on it. That is definitely an advantage, having at least like the basic sense of drawing. um, I would say as you work on it, like but that shouldn't be uh, not having enough skills, or being like if you're insecure about your drawing skills, that shouldn't stop you from animation. Like if you really want to explore this, because uh, you know a lot of people who work with 3D, even like again, what do you want to be? You don't have to do like from A to Z of animation. Like while I'm working as a director, I don't necessarily need to have uh, great drawing skill to be a director, animation film director. I can have people who are uh, great animators too, or like great character designers, great concept artists, illustrators, to work with me to bring my vision to life, right? So you need to have great understanding of the medium animation. You need to uh, like again, if you want to animate, still want to animate, you have like other possibilities, like the what is it, the stop motion technique. um, I literally, like took an underwear and I made it animate. You need to have like understanding of physics for that, how an object would like work with in that circumstance. You can make it follow gravity, you can make it defy gravity. It's all up to you. Like if you have that understanding of animation without drawing also, it is possible to work around it. One of my friends, his core skill is not really drawing, but then he makes amazing animation films, like using just coding. He uses the software After Effects, and then I've never seen him draw. Like he draws like basic shapes and like feeds it into the thing, and then he uses codes to animate. So he has a great understanding of timing and movement and all that. So, and great storyteller. So if you can tell great stories, like that is always like takes like people care about that more than uh, the finer details in the animation. Yeah.
So like the process of one, like just one animation film, it's too long. Like there's pre-production, post-production, there goes a lot in it. So could you
Yeah.
share your insight about that?
So yeah, first of all, yeah, a lot of people, like when what like I was an artist more than an animator, like like to start with. So like I had that mentality of like being very laid back and let the idea come, and like it was like the creativity and all that. I was like hung up on that, but it took me a while to realize that as much as that is important, it is also important to have like a proper um, like a workflow and everything planned, and you have to be professional, you have to have a discipline when you're doing this. So that is something that is very important. So when you start animating, so like yeah, I can again show you what I'm doing right now. So this is a small snippet of the animation that I'm working on currently, the film that I'm working on right now. So this is a small animation test from that. So yeah, like when I'm working on this, I have a production manager. That is again another career. Just a second, I'll just switch on the light. So that's another career path. You don't, like a lot of animators, um, they don't just stick to animation. Animation also requires, making an animated film also requires like support from like a manager, like as an animation man, like production manager requires knowledge of animation as well. So one of my friends who's an animator is now helping me manage my film. So he has set up a process for the film where like these many months have to be for the research of the film, like say 1 or 2 months for the research, where I will be actually going there and collecting enough information about like the different things that I require for the film, for the character design, for the sound, for the music, different aspects of the film. And then I have to start doing the character design and initial explorations, backgrounds of the film, the look and feel of the film. I need to think about the what the sound and music of the film will be like. I start putting them into a something called a pitch deck, and I will like I'll parallelly be writing the story of the film, the script of the film, screenplay of the film, and I will have, like I need to have an understanding of, like the characters of the film, what these characters are going to do, why the motivation of these characters to behave a certain way in the film, what does the main protagonist need, those kind of details, and then I have to like, be aware of these things, because, I have to start pitching my film to producers, right? And then I need to be very sure about like what I want, what am I trying to say. So once I have that, once I have a producer on board, like I start working on the animatic of the film, animatic and storyboard. So storyboard is basically um, still images of each scene of your film, and then a little more detailed version of that would be an animatic. So you don't have animated frames, but like a little more detailed, like literal idea of the movement. So if the uh, character is going from A to B, then maybe like one frame here, one frame here, like and then just to communicate what is going on in that scene. And then there will be a rough scratch sound and music, dialogue, whatever is there. It's all going to be rough. This is just to get an idea of like what the movie is going to be like. So this will be the bible for the film. And then you have to parallelly have your concept art is basically illustrations of like your color, the mood boards of the film. So once all this is ready, you start preparing layouts for the film, so that like your the key frames of the film, so that the animators can start animating. So once the animation is done, you have to start working on the sound. You have to start thinking about, start talking with the sound designer and the music guy for the film. All the color has to be done for the film, each and every frame, and then all of them have to be put together into like a film by a compositor, and then the final mixing and all that will happen in post production. So it takes about like like my film, which is the new film, the fish film that you saw, took about 8 months from A to Z. So there's this entire process. Yeah,
So
and it's
like,
a team effort. You have to have like people come on board, like like who agree with your vision. And yeah.
so as you said earlier that like you were very laid back when you were learning, like when you were still learning. So what are some challenges that you faced then, and what are some challenges that you are facing now as a professional?
So yeah, I mean, there's this discipline that is required was definitely the challenge, like uh, because it can be very intimidating when you're like making a film. Becomes very intimidating when you don't have that sort of discipline, and it just goes like incomplete, like there's an idea, like you start romanticizing about this idea in your head. You have like good days and bad days. Some days like you're like, this is the best idea. Some days you're like, no, this idea is not great. But like you have to start having a proper plan. So even like today, like while working on I'm working on the layouts for the film currently. So yesterday my production manager and I had a discussion about how many frames, how many shots have to be finished each day, so that I can finish in the targeted time. So once we had that conversation and we had that planning done, it started happening more smoothly. I have like a plan now, because last month it was, we couldn't have that. Last few weeks we couldn't have that conversation because of other, I got busy with other parts of the film, and it was sort of scattered, in my mind also. It is like really scattered. So the moment you have like that plan of action and everything like planned beforehand, uh, it becomes, like it starts flowing. So that required that figuring out that process, and like realizing this took me a while. So once I have that clarity, I've realized it's not as intimidating making a film. And this is still the same challenge that I'm facing today also. And if you so animation industry is still very at a nascent stage in India when it comes to creating original content. As a service industry, we are like set. There's enough options for you to like work as a, like go to a studio and like work as an animator, or there are enough, like there's enough, like if you work on your skills, there are enough projects coming from like abroad also, like to for you to work on. As a service industry, there's like nothing to worry about, I feel. But at the same time, uh, when it comes to creating our own content, we are still at a growing stage. That is where I currently feel find the challenge in convincing producers. And but yeah, like this, right now I have a producer on board, which was like a big celebrated task in the industry, because uh yeah, it's a great thing to have some a producer backing your idea and your vision.
Sonika Bhimani is asking, what's your opinion of AI?
AI. I am very on the fence about it. I don't know enough. I'm still learning about it. Uh, I think everyone is still learning about it. I don't mind using it as a tool to help it making your, you need to have your own original vision and everything, and like help using AI to support that, or help you make your process faster is okay. uh, but I'm not a big fan of using AI as your final, AI generated stuff as your final product, because there is also that moral issue of AI is basically, it's not original artwork, right? It's using a lot of plagiarized artworks. We are all ultimately doing that, but then it is a mix of our own, like creativity coming into play. Nothing is original after all. But we are at least are using our brains to, like, bring a little bit of ourselves into our works. uh, but when it's like, blatantly, like, just a mix of, like things that, and like without any brains, you're like putting it together and saying, this is a final piece of work, then there is a problem there. We're still figuring out what is the solution for it. Yeah. So there's no like a set correct answer for that yet.
Hmm. So, like, who's your role model in like animation? Was there any kind of animated film that you watched that made you start or like
Yeah, I
get
mean,
into animation?
growing up, it was always the, I mean, what we had access to was the Disney films, right? All the Disney and the Tom and Jerry and the Looney Tunes. And but then I think what attracted me to, so like, I'm a little I got bored of, that sort of animation, especially when I got introduced to like people like Stéphane Aubier and like the French animation scene. Before that, I mean, Miyazaki. I know everyone here knows about Miyazaki. All his films are available on Netflix. But there are people like Stefan Aubier, like who I had the like had the chance to have him as my guide for both the films I made in France. So I can just like play this little thing again, like talking about like not needing to be, have drawing skills to make a film. This is something he's made.
Wait there, MC!
Hello, Santa here.
Yes, I'm going to not to deliver cowboy and Indian presents this year
Why's that?
because they ruined my Christmas log and smashed it to bits.
Everybody off the bus!
Pour a drop of red liquid on couch. It becomes very tight. If I pour a drop of green
Yeah.
liquid,
So Stéphane Aubier and Vincent Patard, these two, they started making these animation using, these little toys that came free with like something, like in their childhood. So that became a crazy series, like it's crazy, very funny. So they were, like stuff. It's really opened my eyes to, like what the possibilities of animation. Doesn't have to be, the typical Disney-esque animation. There is um, this film that changed my mind about animation was Triplets of Belleville, and that is what like got me interested in like the French animation, and what got, made me go there. So it was also very unusual, like not the usual kind of style that you see. Yeah, so if you see the character design and everything is like very different from usual animations. So this film was a very inspiring film for me. Yeah. So I think, yeah,
Audience feel
it's really changed my mindset about like what animation can be. It doesn't have to just be Disney animation. Yeah. Also, I think what inspired me to sort of draw inspiration from, like our own culture and I haven't really shown you anything that I've made that fits within that. So I made a film that is about, like, long distance relationships, uh, through a film called Chandran's Cafe, where this Malayali guy is running a tea stall on the moon. So the current film I'm making is also like based out of Kerala. It's a horror film, psychological drama actually. So it really inspired me to make films from, like, our own culture, and like, but like something that stories we can tell to the entire world, not just our own people. Yeah.
Feel free to drop your questions or doubts, audience. Like, chat box is open. You guys can ask. Your work is truly Sigma. Mayank Chaudhary said.
Thanks.
Hmm. It is very interesting, like the whole character concepts.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's again like another thing. Like I enjoyed drawing characters.
Like, yeah, like you need to take care of a lot of things when you like design a character. Like, what kind of environment is he gonna be in?
Yeah, and
What kind
not
of
just that, like,
clothes he's
you
gonna
have to start
wear?
thinking about the story of this character, the backstory of these
Yeah.
characters, and that's what adds, uh, makes them interesting. These characters. Yeah.
Pratima is asking any roadmap for beginner.
That's what I said. There's no one route map. It's different route maps, and I never tell them, like, do it this particular way. It's always better to uh, try things out yourself, and you need to, like, find out where your passion really lies, what is really, like, calling out to you. Like I said, none of my batchmates are doing what I am doing, but even though we studied the same thing, everyone has figured out, their own interests, and like gone that direction, and each journey is different. So it's something, you have to, but, like, again, if you want to make money, and that is something that is priority, then you might not be at the have the luxury of exploring all these options. So you have, what you have to start thinking of would be to, like, start prioritizing, like, what, uh, again, like, I'm coming back to it, like, what your voice is, what, uh, really refine your skills, try to find an identity. And um, there are always these ads, and like, illustrations. These are all like children's book illustrations and all. You have these avenues for me, like earning your pocket money. I would say bread and butter. Like, pocket money would make it seem like insignificant, but yeah, uh, lots of career opportunities are there. So yeah, and do it for the passion, and then that's what I've realized. And don't do anything for the sake of doing it. If you have that really passion, and like really keep like going in that direction, pushing yourself in that direction as much as possible, and if possible, like, like, put your work out there, let people see it. Because most of my works that like, the works that I have done is through putting my work out there through different platforms. Yeah, get it
Hmm.
out.
Shashar is asking, what's your view on Japanese animation?
I not an expert. I have very limited knowledge of that. But yeah, like, I have always considered, like, Miyazaki as one of my idols for storytelling. There's also this studio called, um, 4 degrees Celsius. I forgot what it's called. I'm sorry. Let me find out. But there's a film called, Mind Game, which really changed my mind. Like, one of my inspirations for, like, again, I forgot to mention that in my inspirations. That film just changed my mind about like what animation can be. Yeah, so that those are films that come from Japan. And yeah, like how Japanese films have that, um, they're rooted to their culture in a lot of ways. So, uh, which is what makes them set them apart from, like the other industries, right? So it's the same with like the French industry as well. They are very their stories come from their lives and their settings, and um, whi- which is what is essential, which is what we need to also aspire to do, I think, like bring our culture, not culture in the sense like be true to ourselves. When like I try to tell stories that are coming from my own, uh, even if it is not, like even that fish thing, it's not really story from my own settings, but like there is an element of myself in that, because I'm trying being honest to the my craft. So yeah.
So the session is coming to an end, so like we'll try to wrap it up quickly with like two more questions. First question is asked by Tarushi. She's asking, what is the support system of the animation industry of India like the job securities, and if you're working in the big productions, etc.
So yeah, support system, like I said, it's a the in terms of the service industry, where we are providing animation services to other countries. uh, there's a set industry there, and the possibilities are like great, when it comes to like um, 3D the space, or like the gaming space, ad space, education, all these things. There's immense potential there. uh, where I would say it is, like still at a baby stage would be, like creating our own little animation films, or feature films, or series, that there, like people are still trying to make that work out. But otherwise, if you are specifically like, looking for your career, like it's a very uh, I mean, it has its own downsides, like there are problems like any other industry here as well. But yeah, if you have that passion for the craft, like you can definitely, like, really do, like the possibilities are endless.
Mayank is asking how much you are able to earn. Six
Oh, yeah.
figures? Question mark, question mark.
Yeah, yeah. Six figures. Again, it's really up to you. I have like so I am not really currently, like I was freelancing. I was a freelance animator where I was making a lot of, yeah, like even now I'm making six figures for that. I was making more than six figures at one point, but like yeah, so when you're making your own film, like I said, it's not the same. This is something I'm doing for my like passion, so the money is probably lesser there.
All right, so we'll end this session. I'd like to thank you for like such an insightful session, and like GSID for giving this platform, for such an enriching session and insight for anyone wanting to start a career in animation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope yeah,
Uh,
is at a better place.
yeah, they're thanking you.